of experience in their various fields, from networking to talent to experience, and so much more is going to be shared with us today. So please, can we confirm if I'm audible? If I'm audible, can you just send the thumbs up? Just react to the thumbs up if I'm audible to you, please. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So tonight we will be having our distinguished speakers talk to us on varying topics, even as we discuss, even as we talk about navigating career, unlocking potential here on the career navigating webinar. So welcome and a big congratulations for being here. So first on our event flow, we'll be having the objective of the event and what this event is meant to achieve. So many youths nowadays have a lot of vague notions about what the career space is. So many are unsure of their future, their possibilities, or even how to go around the whole entire space. Some are lacking knowledge, some are lacking insight, some are lacking a guiding hand, or someone watching over them to like at least give them the OT or orientation on how the space is. So we are here tonight to learn from our distinguished speakers once again on varying topics, even as they will give us insight into their experience, their work, and what they've gone through so far to get to where they are today. So I'm welcoming Rebecca Gamaliel from the House of Representatives to give the opening remarks, and I'll give a short bio on her quickly. So, you will allow me?
Can you please come again?
I want to introduce him so you can give the opening remarks for the career navigating webinar this evening. Okay, thank you, man. So, we have Rebecca Gamaliel is a passionate communication strategist and public relations professional who helps brands shape meaningful narratives, build authentic relationships with their audiences, and maximize their visibility across both traditional and digital platforms. With a proven ability to design and execute audience-driven campaigns, she specializes in transforming brand messages into compelling stories and spark conversations and leave lasting impressions. From campaign strategy and media relations to social media activations and events PR, she crafts communication strategies that are both strategic and culturally relevant. Her work is rooted in culture, creative storytelling, audience insight, and strategic visibility, ensuring that every campaign she leads is not only seen, but remembered. Please, can we welcome Mrs. Rebecca, even as she's making the opening remarks, even as we begin the event tonight. Thank you, Mrs.
Good
Rebecca.
evening. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. Sorry, permit me, I wouldn't be able to turn on my camera because I'm in a very crazy space, but I just stepped away to speak with you all. So good evening once again, distinguished speakers, panelists, and participants, everyone joining us from across Nigeria and beyond. It is such an honor and a privilege to welcome you to this year's edition of Career Navigation. This is an amazing webinar, and our sole purpose is unlocking potential. So, of course, we all know that today's theme is navigating success, by leveraging skills and network. We live in a world where network is key, it's power, it's in most cases the step to the next level on the ladder of you achieving your goals. As Nigerians say, man, no man. And networking, I would say, in my own opinion, is timely and timeless. We live in a world where opportunities are rapidly evolving. It's not just about what you know. It's also not about knowing your skills or how to apply your skills. The most important thing is also connecting with the right people that determines how far you go. So, as our amazing host has talked about me, I'm an on-air personality, worked on radio, work on TV, and I own a PR company called Beckins Media. So what we do is we do everything that is branding. Literally, what it means is we take your brand for where it is to where it's supposed to be. So everything that has to do with storytelling, your image, and your perception to your target audience is what will entail. And let me not sound like I'm all put together or I have it all figured out. No, I just started as a young girl in Lagos that had a dream. I studied in the University of Lagos, building construction to be precise. And once I was done with my 50, I was like, nah, I don't think I want to do this. And I had to go down memory lane to think about what I was really good at as a 22-year-old girl. This was way back in 2015. I had to think about what I was good at. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually good in talking. I was social prefect in school. And I was like, you know what? I'm good at this. So I had to look within myself to know exactly what I'm good at. And I realized that being in the media space, a lot of people don't know how to tell their stories. Hence the idea of going into the public relations space. So it's I would say for people that don't know what they want to do, look within yourself in retrospect. Have an internal conversation with yourself and genuinely ask yourself, what are you good at? Where do you think you can thrive? Where do you think you can harness your skill in and evolve in life? I would say that from networking, you would learn the effective power of communication. You know, this is why I would say networking is extremely crucial in any space that you find yourself in, be it engineering, be it influencing, be it public relations space, or even a graphic designer. Networking is important because you may be having a perspective on maybe whatever idea you have from a box, and somebody gives you a broader horizon. So networking is um vital in any career path that you're in. So I would just encourage you as you're here in this webinar to actively engage, ask questions, make connections, take away strategies that you can apply immediately in your everyday life, because success, as we know today, is not the destination, it's the journey. Okay. One built on continuous growth, collaboration, and resilience. That's success story, because you may say you want to make a millionaire now, you get a millionaire. The next thing is you desire to make 10,000 or 10 million naira or 100 million naira. At the end of the day, once you hit that max or that prime max, you always desire more. That's why they always say success is not about the destination, but the journey. So, on behalf of everyone organizing this webinar, make sure that you are learning, you have insight, you are empowered. Make sure that you take something home. If you're confused about something, ask, maybe for the person's personal social media page that you can slide into their DMs for help, because no man is an island. Okay. So without further ado, I would say that the journey through life is an ever learning process. Currently, I'm currently in the public relations and communication strategy for the House of Representatives. See how I went from the media space to the House of Reps. We're recently inaugurated in this committee to work on the reserve seat bill. And from all the knowledge that I've gotten, being the CEO of Beckins Media, I'm applying all of that as a committee or the focal lead person for the PR and communications committee. And this literally buttresses my point of saying it's not about the destination, but the journey. You keep evolving, you keep learning, you keep aspiring. Read books, step out of your comfort zone, ask questions, take courses. Even if you're good at graphic designing, learn how to use, or even if you're good at using Canva, learn how to use Adobe Premiere Pro. Final, even if you're good at Final Cut, learn how to use all of the Adobe tools. I'm just using this example to say you just have to keep evolving. An amazing book I'll tell you guys to read in case you're just starting or navigating your journey is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. This is an amazing book. And another book is Atomic Habits. These two books are books that you can read to make you soar, make you think outside the box, and we just give you a broader perspective on how to be successful. And yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. This is an opening remark, so I can't delve deep into um how exactly to be successful. I'm just opening the floor for you people to know that this is an evening of learning, insights, and empowerment. So ensure you ask your questions, ensure you take notes, ensure you get someone's contact today, ensure you slide into DMs. Just ensure that you are not the same way you were at 6:59 p.m. this evening. So thank you so much. My name is Rebecca Gamaliel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rebecca. That was a wonderful, wonderful opening remark. And I
Thank you so
personally
much.
was quite impacted by what she shared with us. And I'm sure others also were. Learning
Thank
of your,
you.
getting an insight into your story all the way from Lagos and your initial studies into where in the House of Representatives. What a wonderful journey, I must say. It's so inspiring. Once again, thank you for sharing with us and for inspiring us, for letting us understand that success is not just a destination, but it is also a journey. And we are all on the journey of success, discovering ourselves, our careers, our talents, and networking. As I said, networking is very, very important. So we'll be moving right into the first speaking session, as I've just had from our um, wonderful Mrs. Rebecca, who was giving us an opening remark. Moving right into Mr. Omoya Joel. Omoya Joel is an education innovator and Pan-African youth leader, passionate about transforming how students across Africa learn, lead, and thrive. He is the founder of Joel Academy, an education platform on the nation to make learning radically easier and more accessible for African students. Through free academic video resources and virtual study challenges, Joel Academy has built a thriving learning community over 10,000 students across the continent. Joel also serves as the co-convener of the African Student Summit, CASS, a Pan-African platform advancing leadership, technology, and entrepreneurship education for the next generation of African change makers. His work has impacted students through digital and entrepreneurial skill building initiatives in both northern and southern Nigeria. And currently, he's leading the development of WikaLearn, an AI-powered learning assistant designed to personalize education for every African learner, making it smarter, more affordable, and truly transformative. With a deep commitment to reimagining Africa's education system, Omoya Joel doesn't just talk about change, he builds it. And with respect to that, can we welcome Mr. Omoya Joel as he takes the topic beyond obvious talents, uncovering the potential in unconventional expertise. Please can we welcome Mr. Omoya Joel.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, JOK. So good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Trust we had a great day. So again, we're really going to have an amazing session. Yeah, the next 20 to 25 minutes is really going to be very much practical. I want to really appreciate the organizers of this conference. Thank you very much for putting all of this together, getting amazing speakers to come to, enlighten the youth on, career development and all of that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so I basically will be talking on beyond obvious talent, uncovering the potential in unconventional expertise. Now, most times, basically, when we hear of career and all of that, especially for young people, we see it as just having we basically see the focus as having some expatriate skills like front end web dev, HR, human resource management and all of that. But then what we'll be going through in the next few minutes would be able to uncover a lot of unconventional talents that we're leaving on the table that would give us a professional advantage even as we start to build a career and also to thrive in whatever career we find ourselves. All right, so I want to start with an amazing story, right? I want to start with an amazing story. While I was on campus, I think in my third year, I actually had this mentor that was in final year. He was the president of one of the major fellowships on campus, FCS. And he's someone that really inspires. I think he was really doing amazingly well, while on campus. He was a product designer. He had investment in agriculture and all of that. So one day I approached him, and then I began, having some conversations with him. And then he gave me this advice. He said, "Joel, start to build your CV, start to build your resume right now." So he shared this practical experience of how he served as the Bible study coordinator while he was in 400 level, and then and also the president while he was in 500 level. And he told me how he was able to put up his whole experience as a fellowship executive. He tailored it into a professional experience that he added to his resume. So he told me how he mentioned, instead of a fellowship, he put it as an organization, and then he led meetings, weekly meetings that sat over 500 plus individuals every week, and then handled and overseen logistics, various departments, and all of that. The way he put it was really amazing. And then I got to think about this in a world where storytelling is key, in a world where how you put yourself out is key, is basically going to be a differentiating factor between other people in your niche, or other people, whatever you're applying. We must learn to stand out. And so if there's a job put out there looking for a front-end developer, we are likely going to see, of course, we see this a lot on LinkedIn. 5 hours, you see over 100 applications on a particular job. So what do you think will make you stand out? Now, if there's a role for front-end development, it means that likely everybody that are applying, for that particular job, right? They have that technical skill. So what is going to make you stand out? So, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. I'm just trying to pull your mind from the conventional skill and, that we look out for when we are building a career, to some unconventional, talent that we've actually trivialized. Now, it's expected that those over 100 people who have applied within that 5 hours or whatsoever, they are front-end developers. They have the basic skills, React, JS, all of that, HTML, CSS, what have you. So what would make you stand out? Now, before I go on with, my session and all of that, I would want to put this, I would say, in this world where we find ourselves, right? There's a lot of competition as regards, there's a whole lot of competition, whether you're on social media, you have a lot of accounts trying to, and you just have to be creative. You just have to be dynamic. You have job applications. There are thousands of people applying for that job. You have scholarship opportunities. There are thousands of people applying for that. So what would make you different? You just have to begin to think that way. And part of what I learned from, my mentor while I was, on campus is, do not trivialize your experiences. Do not trivialize your experiences. The sufferings you've been through, the tough times you've been through, do not trivialize them, because out of these are gems. You can produce gems out of all of these. I've had testimonies of how people got scholarship opportunities, right, because of their story. This is something other people trivialized. Yeah, people with 4.98, still applied for that same opportunity. Graduated best graduate student in the whole university, still applied for that opportunity, but someone with a lower grade, but with a polished story, got that opportunity even above that particular person. So what am I trying to say? I know, yes, the normal, conventional skill sets are there, they are foundational, but then beyond that, in a world where, is full of competition and all of that, what will make you stand out? They are unconventional talents that you have. Unconventional talents that you have. So if you are here and then you were once, let's say you took care of your mom's shop, you took care of your dad's shop. It's not something far-fetched. Some of you saying, do I really have these talents there they are actually talking about? Do I really have it? From your experience, your mom or dad had a shop, you were going there to attend to customers and all of that. That is an experience. You had the opportunity to volunteer, for one thing or the other, or a health outreach and all of that. It's all of these are experience, and then when you are able to take note of this and fine tune it and package it such that they become professional or opportunities, basically, even in the career space, right? So I'll just be giving us a framework as regards how we can go about this. All right, so I have this framework I kind of worked out and designed. And the first one is of course, you have to map out your experience. You have to write down everything you've done, paid, unpaid, school or home, formal, informal. You just have to write it down. Next is, we'll be going through all of them individually. Next is ask, what skill did this teach me? What skill did this teach me? Did it teach me leadership? Did it teach me organizing? Did it teach me problem solving? Did it teach me creativity, resilience, and what have you? Then the third is reframe in professional language. Reframe in professional language. And then the fourth is connect to career paths. So this is basically going to be a very much practical session. So we would be starting off with the first framework, which is map out your experience. Map out your experience. So I'll just give a few examples while we, have our notepads with us. We have our notes with us, and then we write out some of the experience, because at the end of this session, basically, we should have been able to carve out, we should have been able to identify hidden talents, we should have been able to pick out gems from our experiences we have, so far, to be able to coin them into professional assets, right? Are we together? If we are together on the comment section, let me just get some reaction. Let me get some reaction. All right, so mapping out your experience, mapping out your experience. All right, so I'm basically going to make this much more easy and practical for us, giving different case studies and how this can be represented as career value. Remember where we are coming from. In a world where there are competitions, what would make you stand out? You have the conventional skill, but then you have a lot of people competing for that same position, for that same opportunity. What would make you stand out? So we are working on how you can refine your experiences, how you can refine your talents to ensure that you are able to stand out amongst the crowd. So yes. Sorry, just give me a moment. So yeah, now first of all, you have to map out your experience, right? So I'll just give some examples, and then afterwards, I'll just want us to write out in the comment section some of the experiences that most likely we are going to trivialize, or most likely we have trivialized and all of that. So let's say, I don't know how many of us are students here. Sorry, I'm calling a lot of students because I deal with a lot of students in the educational sector and all of that. So were you a course rep, you were a student leader, whatsoever, you had your parents, your dad or your mom, and then you went to the shop to sell for them, all of that, you were kind of in an association in school, SPE, you were in a fellowship, whatever, you belong to Muslim association or whatever, you are in a volunteer community, or you took part in a volunteer community project. At home, you have younger ones you care for, you have responsibilities that you usually carry out. These are various experiences that you can, maximize to position yourself and kind of make yourself different out there. All right. And now, why are all of these important? The reason why they are important is because employers of labor, basically, they are looking for people with transferable skills. Yes, they're looking for people with. And what do I mean by transferable skills? There are skills and abilities that you develop, right, that can be applied in many other settings. So just imagine you're an employer of labor, and then you have two people come on board. One person is solely good and competent in that skill you called out for, and then you have someone else who is also good and competent, but as an add-on, the person also the person also has transferable skills, such as proper communication skills, such as teamwork, is able to take initiative and all of that, gather people together and all of that, problem solving, critical thinking, proper organization, and time management and all of that. You will see the person who has all these transferable skills as an asset, like more than basically of course you pick the person with transferable skills, and and of course the skill in question for that job role, you pick this person over the person that just has or display what just these technical skills. So it is very, very important. These transferable skills are very, very important. So now that you've been able to carve out your experience, I hope we are writing our experiences on chat box. I gave us various examples, whether you were involved in a community project, whether in your previous jobs you did this or that. And then right now, I'm basically going to begin to open our eyes to see how this experience culminates into professional capital. Yes. So let's assume you were okay. Let's pick out something very common. Your mom or your dad had a shop, and then you were going there to sell for them. So your experience was helping your mom or your dad in the family store, attending to customers, and giving people change, having records on or financial records and all of that. So now this is how you move from after identifying these experiences, after identifying these talents, right? This is how you are able to translate them into a professional capital, right? You could work out something like this: managed daily customer service operation and handled cash transaction in a retail business. Yes, more like in a retail business. Of course, you built interpersonal skills, maintained customer satisfaction, and ensured accuracy in sales and inventory records. Now, being able to harness this and translate it into a professional, capital, you can stand out in roles like customer service, retail management, basic finance, and sales. I repeat, in the world where we have so many competitions, what would make you stand out would be how you package yourself. And the fact everybody has experiences, everybody has a story to tell. But you find out that people out there who are building brands, we all know of building brands, and then the person who gave the welcome speech actually talked about storytelling and all of that. It is because nobody knows what you have. Nobody knows what you carry, basically. It is as you present yourself out there. So your CV is basically what the recruiter is going to have access to. And you just have to convince them as much as possible in your resume and what have you on your experience to be able to move up to the next level. So this is very, 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 very important. So let's say you actually volunteered in a community project. So your experience could be you participated in a campus cleanup or a community cleanup. You went to the street picking up dirt here and there. You mobilized people for blood donation or what have you. You can translate it as such. Volunteered in executing and in fact, you may not even, it depends on the role, basically, it depends on the role you are actually applying for. You may not really go into so much context, but the experience you've had and the lessons you learned, you could shape it into and translate it into professional capital that, would draw all attention to you. So I'll be going through, I want to believe right now, we have written some of our experiences on the comment section and talents that are actually most trivialized. Yeah, so next we would be moving into some examples and how we can pick out some examples of transferable skills I talked about, and how we can maximize them when applying for jobs, in our resumes, when in interview, selling ourselves online, whether building our personal brand, how we can maximize that. So yeah, so just imagine you were involved in, let's say, at home, you have siblings and all of that. Of course, we know we can have troublesome siblings at times, and then they want to fight each other and all of that. Settling dispute between friends, between roommates, between siblings, that is actually conflict resolution and mediation. Yeah, that is conflict resolution and mediation. And that says something. Everybody, I'm saying this again, everybody has experiences, but it is how you package yourself that makes you stand out. It is how you package yourself that makes you different from the other. If you feel it's not important, people, they will take you as, you just have this technical skills, and that's basically all. It is how you package yourself. So start looking at your experience, see how you can push things out, and in a packaged way, basically. So this is something very critical. This is something critical. And I'm going to give this example. I think I noted this example down for people who are saying they don't really have any advantage at all. They're coming from, they did not go to a private school. They're coming from, let's say, northern Nigeria, one, in fact, college of education in one northern state and all. You can turn your suffering into, an advantage. So most students would relate with this, or most young people would relate to this. Figuring out how to survive on a tight budget, right? Drinking garri for days and all of that. So you can fine-tune this. You can basically translate this, being able to figure out on how to survive on a tight budget, finding shortcuts during power outages most people experience as a Nigerian, kind of, or creatively completing assignments when resources are scarce. That's actually problem solving. That's creativity, right? When you don't really have so much food stuff at home, but you just try as much as possible to manage till the end of the month. That is critical thinking. So you need to pick up every experience you have as a gem. Don't trivialize it. And basically, they are going to set you up for, much opportunities. They are going to set you up for in your career and what have you. So finally, in our framework, we had map out your experience, ask what skill did this teach me. We've been able to better leadership, organizing, problem solving, we explore that critical thinking and all of that. Reframe in professional language. I think we've had an overview of that. And finally, in our framework, it would be, okay, just to just to give some extra examples to reframe in professional languages, instead of you to say you helped your dad in selling whatsoever, you manage daily retail operations and customer service and all of that, using all these professional terms and what have you. All right. So and then finally on our framework, it would be connect to your career path. Connect it to your career path. So basically what you have, the experience you've gathered, the talent you've had, you should be able to connect it to the career path you are actually on. All right. And even as I wrap up, on the framework, it will be please, this what we've discussed right now is applicable not just in your resume, it's applicable in interviews, it's applicable in selling yourself, it's applicable on social media, in pushing out your story. Because, like I said, stories are powerful. Pushing out your narratives are powerful. In your experience, in the little things you trivialize, these are things people are using to gather opportunities. These are things that are differentiating factors, that is bringing a lot of sales for people, that is, bringing a lot of career opportunities for people. So please do not trivialize it. Do not trivialize it. Do not trivialize it. Learn to tell your story, learn to package your experience, learn to package your talents into professional capital. So thank you very much. And I hope we've been able to move from trivializing basically experiences and all of that, to seeing and spotting them, identifying this experience, to translating them into professional form, professional capital, and then, aligning them based on the career path where we are in, and finally being able to, maximize sharing all of this across various borders, whether, making it a part of us, basically, whether in interviews, whether, on social media, we telling our stories, or whether it's adding it up in resumes, because these are differentiation factors that would make us stand out in a world where, there is so much competition. So thank you very much. And I hope we've been able to learn a lot from this session.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joel. That was very, very, very informative.
Thank you so much,
that
sir.
was very packed. I must say. Understanding the necessity of branding and paying attention to experiences that we have had in the past that we may have overlooked in our journey, and seen as things that are minuscule or things not worthy to be placed on CVs or made part of our stories, and emphasizing on the need to take those experiences, distill them into skills, and connect them to career paths and professions. It's such a wonderful insight you have shared with us tonight. And I begin to implore all attendees, if you have any questions, please kindly share them on the Q&A, or you can share them in chat. So Mr. Joel can answer your question within the next short 5 minutes. Please, you can share your questions as pertaining to Mr. Joel's session so far. Any questions you may have, any things you would want to ask, any clarity you would want had on what has been shared by Mr. Joel so far. The floor is open, please. I'm looking forward to your questions. Okay. Hello, guys. Can you hear me? Sure, we all learned something. Don't be shy. Okay, someone asked the question. Please, could you share? Okay, seems we have one question coming up. And you can keep sending in your questions, even though we don't answer them now. There's a Q&A session after all the speakers are done speaking, where you also have an opportunity to ask questions. But right now, so you don't forget, so it doesn't fly out of your head, take the action right now and gain clarity on areas you are unsure about, gain clarity on things that have been shared, things that you want more insight on within this time frame before we move over to our next distinguished speaker. Ms. Gabriel, I'm still expecting the question. Like you said, something.
Okay, maybe I'll just ask it. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, very much audible. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody sent me a question. She said she's a bit shy. That
Okay.
we have so many cases where people go to school to let's say study law or study mass comm or study biography, and then at the end of the day, you go out when you're done with school after the 4 years, 5 years, you go out and you're not getting jobs. You're not getting job opportunities. So she's currently going into the university. So she's asking, how can she tell what course would favor her? She doesn't want to go and study, spend 4 years in school, and at the end of the day, she's struggling to get a job. So that's the question. I think somebody just asked the
Good.
question again.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Gabriel. Mr. Joel, please can you answer the question?
All right. Thank you so much for that. So if it's about job security, right? I would say being valuable is basically now the key. Yes, it's basically the key. Yeah, we've had a lot of people right now. I think I saw a video by Izzy Sultan and all of that. How many of you, yeah, some of you right now are in a career path or you are doing something based off what you studied in school? And then, of course, it was kind of really a lot of people are basically not using their certificates. Will I say using their certificate, or are basically not doing jobs or whatsoever, or businesses and all of that that relates to what they studied in school. So right now in 21st century, what is the key to unlock your job security is how much value you are able to have. So despite the skill you pick, um, just see how you can maximize, how you can be valuable, whether it's based on your course of study or based off something else. Just see how you can be valuable, and of course, you would definitely get jobs. Yeah, or you would create jobs by yourself. So yeah, I think that would just be a quick answer to that question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joel, for that answer. Very comprehensive. Develop value in whatever skill or career paths or course you are picking or selecting even as you enter the university. We hope that answered the question of that young lady. And we have one more question before we move over to the next session from Isaac Abba. He's asking, how do you dig into your past to find these overlooked areas that can contribute to your story and CV, especially when it seems like it's all a blur? How do we do it into our past? Over to you, Mr. Joel.
All right. So yeah, I kind of resonate with this question because I'm a person that usually do not remember, years back, some experiences and all. But part of what you can begin to do is document your experiences. Document your experiences, right? Whether small or big, document them, have them written down, and then expand on them. Use them to tell stories. Just have them, but ensure, just in case, so you do not forget, so it doesn't become blur. Just ensure you document, and you can have a time to sit back. That's the reason why I mentioned some some experiences that we can term mundane. Yeah, as much as did your parents have a shop, or did you work anywhere? Yeah, you could ask yourself, have you worked anywhere before? Have you served anywhere before? Have you spearheaded something before? Have you been in a difficult time before? How did you come out of it? So you can just sit back, aside starting to document right now, you can just sit back and begin to think, begin to ask yourself these questions. You should have served before, and you remember where you served, whether in school, whether out of school, whether you've had a job, whatsoever. Begin to document all of this. You've had issues before, yes. So how were you able, you came out of them, how were you able to come out of it, document all of this? From there, you are able to gather experiences, and then you can build on that. So yeah,
So
I hope
thank you
I
so much.
answered the question. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was a very, very comprehensive answer, asking targeted questions, introspective questions as regarding past. So other questions then in Mr. Joel's session would come up in the Q&A session after all speakers have spoken. And immediately we'll be moving on to the next speaker. Our next speaker is in the person of Barrister Akinriola Oluwafemi Samuel. So Akinriola Oluwafemi Samuel is a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, a chartered mediator and conciliator certified by the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators in Nigeria. He currently serves as a policy analyst at Tech Hive Advisory, where he provides research-driven insights and strategic analysis on technology regulation, data protection, and emerging issues in digital governance across Africa. So please can we welcome Barrister Akinriola Oluwafemi Samuel to take the topic employability and essentials, maximizing your skill sets in the foreign space. Please can we welcome Barrister Akinriola. Thank you so much, sir. And we can't hear you, sir. Your mic is muted.
Yes. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, very much. Thank you.
All right. I said, let me turn on my video. I'm naturally shy in front of the camera, but trying new things. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I want to appreciate the convenance of this webinar. This is a very interesting topic, and I think it's a topic that is that might not really be spoken of a lot, because I think we are more or less used to the conventional. And I think Mr. Joel spoke, extensively on that, that we need to be able to move beyond the conventional. We need to be able to package ourselves as much. So this topic is very essential, and I do hope that the participants would be able to utilize it, and leverage on it for career growth. That being said, I'll be speaking on employability essentials, maximizing your skill set in the foreign space. And if I was to ask, I would just want maybe either a show of hands or a message in the chat. How many of us are actively considering opportunities abroad, or want to study abroad, or we're looking for work or remote jobs or something? I know asking that question, Mr. Isaac raised his hand so quickly, he did not even waste time. But that's the reality, and I think most youth will tell you that they want to work outside, they want to go outside. Ms. Anu said, Uncle I, okay. They want to go outside the country, they want to work outside the country. There are a lot of opportunities out there. But I see this topic in a different way, not necessarily for us to discuss how to make use of skills so that you can jackpot in quotes, but to make you a global person, right? Somebody that is of influence globally. And Mr. Joe spoke a bit about value, and that's the reality of it. To be able to be employable anywhere, you need to be a person of value. And I know most of us want to work in these big outfits that are related to our fields, but it's not something that just happens just like that. People believe that it's just okay, let me just apply. Let me just send a CV. Let me just send these cold emails. Something will land, right? And if it was that easy, I think a lot more people would have been getting those opportunities. But that is not really the case, right? These days things have been made relatively easy for us. We are more or less in the information age, the jet era, some people would call it, right? Where you don't even need to be physically present in a location for you to be able to showcase your talent, or to be able to showcase what you can do, right? It can cross your knowledge, your expertise can cross borders without you being physically present, right? You can have a software engineer, for example, in Lagos that will be working for a company in Berlin. You can have a policy analyst in Abuja who could be consulting companies in Switzerland or something, you know. But getting to that position is not just about just like sending your CV. You know, you have to account, and I think Mr. Joel spoke about this as well. You have to account for the fact that you're not the only one that is applying. You're not the only one that wants this so-called juicy role, right? And for any foreign outfit with a global reach, your competition is also global because your employers are not just comparing you with, you know, fellow Nigerians or fellow Africans or, you know, or all of that, but they're also considering you with people from maybe India, maybe Brazil, somewhere in Eastern Europe, somewhere in Asia, you know. So the key thing is you have to be able to stand out. You have to be able to stand out, right? So now there's now the question of what are the things we need to do? What are the things that these people most likely look for? What are those standout things, basically, right? And I would just talk briefly on about three. Yes, three essentials, right? The first being competence. Competence, and this refers to your skills or the knowledge that you've acquired. We have cultural intelligence. Cultural intelligence. This speaks to more or less like your adaptability, your ability to work in diverse spaces, places where you have multiple work cultures or you have multiple personalities, right? Then your visibility as well, your branding, your networks, how the world discovers how competent you are. So these are the three major things that are very essential and that these companies look out for. These three major things: competence, cultural intelligence, and then your visibility. Your visibility. Now we'll take them one by one as quickly as possible, right? Under your competence, like I mentioned before, you have your skills and your knowledge. Skills or knowledge, depending, right? And under this, you have either your soft, your hard skills, or Mr. Joel also spoke about transferable skills. These are things that these organizations will consider. Your hard skills being more or less, okay, what you learned in school. Those very, yeah, your field of study. Oh, you went to school to study law. You came out with a degree. That is a certification for your hard skill, right? But your soft skill more or less speaks to those skills that are not necessarily tied your um, to your competence or your core competence, right? Like your ability to communicate either verbally or in writing, you know, your ability to listen, retain information, your presenting ability, you know, your self-management skill, your leadership skills. Those are soft skills, right? Might not necessarily be tied to your core competencies, your core skills, your hard skills, but they are things that are relevant to your person and they also affect how you work and how you efficiently bring out um, or fulfill your tasks, right? So that is it on competency, skills, and knowledge. Those are the things they look out for, right? Another thing that would also be considered is your ability to adapt. Your ability to adapt. How are you able to tolerate, if I should put it that way, tolerate those who are of different mindsets than you? How are you able to adapt with people who are from a different culture than you, different belief system? As a Nigerian, for example, you know that a lot of Nigerians are, you know, averse to homosexuals. Now, if you are to walk outside the country, these are the things that you would have to deal with because you have most companies having their DEIs, quotas that they have to fill, some of it being having to do with members of the LGBTQ community. So in that space, how do you deal with them? Are you able to adapt? Are you able to move beyond your cultural bias and make sure that the work gets done? So these are the things that they are considering. So we can see that it's not just about you just sending your CV. It's not just about sending your CV. These things must be present. And a lot of these things will reflect more, not even necessarily in your CV, but in the interview itself. Because when they start asking you certain questions, it speaks to certain things. I went for an interview once, and one of the questions that was asked was, oh, if you were to submit a task to your line manager, and something has happened along the day, and your line manager is pissed, is just annoyed and angry, and said, I don't want to deal with any work today, and you're supposed to turn in that task before the end of business, close of business. What do you do? And it may seem like, oh, like there's nothing that concerns this with the fact that, oh, I'm a cybersecurity personnel. I deal with computers. Nothing concerns me with the feelings, pardon my pidgin. Nothing, there's nothing that aligns me with the feelings of, any other person, right? But you realize that if you are not able to manage that situation, or if you end up escalating that situation, the work doesn't get done. And who loses? The organization. And the organization does not want to lose, because losing means what? Losing money. Money is important to keep the organization afloat. So these soft skills, despite the fact that it may seem like they are not necessarily relevant, or it's just about my qualifications, right? They are necessary, and they are things that people, if you are going to be globally acclaimed, if you are going to be somebody who can be employable all round in all sectors, home and away, these are skills that we need to take into consideration. Then another thing, as we mentioned before, is your visibility, your branding, your network. We've spoken about this, to an extent, so I will not overflow, but this speaks to how the world discovers you. How does the world see you? Right? Because you can't be doing what every other person is doing. You can't be quiet, having nothing, and then expecting to be receiving global attention. It doesn't work that way. There has to be a way you put yourself out there. Either you are putting out think pieces in your related field, attending seminars, attending forums, speaking to people, networking with people in your relevant field, making yourself known. With that, you don't even need to do much work. For some, they don't need to do much. Once they drop their CV and their name is seen, we're like, oh, I see your pieces on LinkedIn. I see the thoughts you bring out. You are a very ingenious person. You don't need to talk much because your works are speaking for you. So putting yourself out there is another way to make sure that you are, globally recognized. Then we're moving on to maximizing your skill set. How then do you maximize these skill sets? The very first thing is for you to recognize which skill set is scalable globally. Which skill set is scalable globally, right? There was a research that was put out, I think last year or early this year. I can't remember specifically. Yes. And speaking to, I'm sure if we look online, we'll be able to see it. Speaking to the various skill sets that are scalable. Give me a minute, sorry. Okay, so it was sorry, my device is acting up a bit. All right, so it was a report that was brought out by the WTO, that's the World Trade Organization. I believe that was early this year, and they spoke about various skills that would be relevant up until I think about 2050. I believe probably after this session, I would send that into the chat so we can take a look at it. But there are various skills that are more relevant in this day and age than others, right? This is not to say you cannot find your niche and you cannot excel in that niche, right? But one has to be very conversant with those which are very relevant in today's day and age, right? So some of those that we have like data analysis, design, even engineering, software engineering, policy research, project management, product design, some of all these other skills and more. There are a lot more that I can mention. Some of them are very relevant. So do your research. Find out which skills are related to you, which skills are portable. Even if you don't see a skill relevant to you in that situation, one of the things the world looks for is problem solvers. And I would like to make that clear. Problem solvers. You have your niche, you have your course of study, right? It's not everything in that area that has been dealt with. Not everything. There are issues, there are problems unique to your sector that need new world solutions, right? So if you can identify those and you can provide those solutions, you make yourself instant hotcake, in quotes, right? So these are some of the things to consider. Identify globally portable skills, find those that are relevant to you, and make sure you run with it. Then the next is for you to translate those skills into international language. Mr. Joel spoke about this. Use professional tones when talking about your skills, when talking about your experiences, right? So for example, he used the example of, oh, you worked there, I'm working as a salesman and all that. You can say I engaged in supervised retail operations at this and this and this and this, right? It's important because it works with how you are framing yourself to the public. So these are the things that we should consider. Now, to round up very quickly, I would say this. There are further things that I could mention. This is a more broader topic that needs a lot more time, but I don't have that much time. But I hope with the little that I said, it can actually get us to actually think about some of these things and look at it in a better light, right? In building your global visibility, I just want to just add that before we round up and go to the questions and answers. We have tools, your LinkedIn, even your Instagram, to an extent, even Twitter as well. Make sure you brand it specifically for what you want to see. Make sure you brand it for what you want to see. Your keywords matter. Your endorsements matter. And you know that to get endorsements, if you don't have those, you have to network, right? Which means engaging in global communities. You have to join open source projects, webinars, hackathons, policy forums, things that you can do to make sure you are put out there, right? So these are the things that we can do to ensure that we are put out there. And when we are put out there, the rest becomes a bit much easier. So I will leave us with a task, right? Over the next few days, I want us to just sit down, take a look at ourselves, look at the skills that are relevant to your space, right? What are those things that are relevant in this day and age? What are those things that you can work on? What are the things you need to do to put yourself out there? Do you need to go for a course? Do you need to rewrite your CV? Take those steps from today. And I think at the end of the day, you'll become a global giant. Yeah. So that's it from me.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much, sir.
Barrister. That was very, very, very insightful. Looking at the angle in which came in on the topic, you didn't just give insight as to how to jackpot and make it, or how to become individuals who are valued globally. So this is not about jackpotting and going to a greener pasture. It's about making wherever we are a greener pasture. This is the value that we carry. This is the value and impact to make on our world. And it was such a delight to hear. Thank you so much. And we already have questions. So attendees, please, we are already in the Q&A session. You can begin asking questions in the Q&A chat. So we have one question from Professor Folade asking, how does she navigate certain challenges when she jackpot? Well, certain challenges were not expressed.
Yes.
But, oh my God. So I don't know. I think I'll leave that to your discretion.
Okay. 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 I would say this, right? It's difficult for me to speak on this matter because I'm one of the people that doesn't want to japa, weirdly enough. But I would say this, right? If that is what you want to do, you want to japa, you want to step out of the country, looking for opportunities and all of that, I would say this. Make sure that you are settled before you go. I mean, when I mean settled, you are settled over there before you go. Not that you're going there and you're looking for the opportunities. Don't go over there looking for the opportunities. Go there with the mindset that you have an opportunity waiting for you. Like you've gotten the job, and you are now going over there. Not that you are going over there to now look for the job. It might be stressful for you, right? It might be stressful for you because one, you have to adapt to the job seeking culture over there, which is entirely different from what we have here in Nigeria, right? Because like I've mentioned, some of the things they are looking for, even in the CV, the presentation of your CV, how you present yourself for interviews, almost vastly different from how we do them here in Nigeria. In Nigeria, there's a lot of considerations, things about the culture, the Nigerian context. All these things are taken into consideration during your interviews, right? So it's like you have a leeway to an extent. But say you're going to somewhere like the US, there's a strict capitalism culture that is very heavy on numbers. On numbers. So it's more or less like we don't care about what's going on with you, like your numbers. What are the things that you can bring? Like we need guarantee, we need certainty. So if you're unable to adapt, you know, eh, adapt to that, it becomes difficult. Eventually, you will adapt if you travel. You will adapt, but it will take time, and you might spend time struggling and before you get that, but it will take time. So my advice to you would be start from now. If you are doing whatever you're doing, do it here first, right? When you get the job, when you get the offer, then you can transition. But whatever preparations you need to make them here first. Uh, that's my that's my take on that. I don't know if that
Yeah.
satisfies you, but yeah.
It was very comprehensive. Thank you. Having preparations ahead before actually moving over there. So one more question before we go to the next speaker. Then all other questions will come in at the when we are wrapping up, when other speakers are spoken and
All
if
right.
you're in audience. So last question is beyond LinkedIn, this is from Isaac Abba. He's
Mm.
asking beyond LinkedIn, what are some underutilized but high impact platforms or communities where professionals can build global visibility and credibility? Over
Mm.
to you, Barrister Kenyon.
Wow. That's an interesting question. And quite frankly, it's not one I've really put much thought into, but I would speak from my experience being that I where I work currently, I discovered through um, Twitter. I discovered them through Twitter. And before I would get in, before I even made my application, I had some conversations with certain people on Twitter, okay, about the space, this and that, got some insight here and there. And um, from there, I made my application to the organization, and here I am today. So I would say this because eventually I would realize that one of the things that was done during my interview was they scanned through my Twitter page, right? And they looked through my Twitter page, and as as fate would have it, I had received a kind of lecture on branding, if I should talk about it. My mentor had spoken to me about that. That say companies don't really care per se if you are a fun person. That's not the initial thing they are looking for. The first thing they want to see is if you are a serious person. If you're a serious person, fine. Then they now start considering whether you are fun and all of that. So your brand, your any social media you have. You can have a separate social media for fun, but the one that you designate as a reflection of yourself to businesses must reflect that. So I think any platform, social media platform, is high impact enough to make you known. Is high impact enough to make you known, but it depends on how you present yourself and it depends on how you're willing to carry it. I think Twitter is one of those that is very underutilized because it's almost instantaneous. The information is coming in almost instantaneously, right? And it has a very wide reach, but it all depends on how you present yourself. If you're putting out think pieces, if you're putting out these things actually work and you are able to get what you need from that platform. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, yes, it does. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was even some insights into branding already. Thank you so much. Branding and networking and the importance of our social media identity. Thank you so much, Marisha. And that was a wonderful session. I was informed and enlightened. I hope, I trust at this point that we all can say the same. And moving on to the next session, we'll be having Mr. David Anunoday speaking on behalf of Victory Africa. And we'll be speaking on the topic Get Noticed, Purposeful Exposure for Career and Business. Mr. David Anunoday is a Nigerian digital literacy advocate, software developer, certified fellow of the Management Institute of Finland, Ashoka Young Changemaker, Future Awards African nominee, Teen Vogue 21 Under 21 honoree, Diana Award recipient, and the co-founder of various software and founder of Tech Now Global. So we'll be having Mr. David come speak to us right here, right now, on get noticed, purposeful exposure for career and business. So over to you, Mr. David. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Sorry, before Mr. David comes up, I really want to say thank you to Sir Victory Ashaka for this privilege, for referring Mr. David to us. So Mr. David is representing Victory Ashaka. Thank you so much, Sir David, for doing this, regardless of your schedule. Thank you so much. And please extend our warm gratitude to Sir Victory. I'll do same too from my end. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Over to you, Mr. David. Thank you.
No problem. Good day, everybody. Please, am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That was a very, very wonderful session we just had. Now I'm questioning myself that what else am I supposed to come and say? Yeah. But before I proceed, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to young-minded people like myself. It's such like an amazing experience to have conversations like this. Today, the topic before me is Get Noticed, Purposeful Exposure for Career and Business, right? I want to talk a little bit about myself before I proceed, right? My name is David, as it was mentioned. Beyond all these awards, beyond all these accolades, I was born in Badagry. Badagry is a remote community in Lagos State, right? Some people say Badagry is not part of Lagos and it's the border part of Nigeria, right? So that's a picture of where I grew up from. Right, and growing up in a village like that means no steady electricity, quality education to one side, access to technology to another side, right? So that's the picture of where I grew up from, right? And because of where I grew up from, I have all the excuse in the world, right? I have a valid reason to not be recognized or to not be who I am today because quote and unquote, my reason is valid, right? But beyond all this, fast forward to today, I'm an Ashoka Young Changemaker, I'm a Diana Award recipient, I'm a Lagos State Youth Ambassador, all those things being mentioned, right? It's not because I am one lucky person, right? is not because I am one smart person, right? I used to tell people that so many people have talents. I still don't know my talent, but my point today is there is a secret behind this, right? Looking at my background and looking at where I am today, what has brought me here today, right? And I think this little experience of mine is what I want to give back to us today. So, in my own little knowledge, I would encourage us to please listen, and I'm sure one person will get one thing from this session, right? Once again, the topic before me today is exposure. I'm sorry, purposeful exposure for career and business. Now, purposeful exposure, right? There are two words there, purposeful and exposure, right? So first thing first, what is exposure? Exposure means visibility, right? But it was not, it's the topic is not just exposure. Purposeful exposure, which means visibility and has another supporting word. It means strategic visibility, right? So it's one thing to be visible, it's another thing to be known, right? Or let me rephrase it. Being seen is different from being known, right? And I think that's the meaning of purposeful exposure, right? Ability or positioning yourself for people to know you, right? So that's the meaning of purposeful exposure. Now, let me warn you, or let me say something. Not all exposure is a positive exposure, or not all exposure is good, quote and unquote. We have a lot of people that are popular, right? I mean, we have a lot of people that are popular, and we have a lot of people that are loud, right? Being popular or being loud does not translate into opportunities, right? So you being exposed in the right way that translates or that can bring positive opportunities to you is what I will summarize as purposeful exposure. Am I on track? Are you with me? I'm just setting the pace, I'm setting the foundation. Yeah, so now, why must we get noticed, right? And why? I'm going to talk more about myself today, and I think because I'm just sharing my story with the room, and I think one person like gets something from it. I'm a very, very shy person. I don't like speaking in public. I am afraid of cameras, a lot of things, right? But I mean, at a very young age, because of the background I came from, I told myself that I would not have an excuse, and I had to do so many uncomfortable things to bring myself to where I am today. And why is it important, right? Number one, for my career. I mean, when I say for my career, I mean for your career too. For my business and for my personal brand, correct? I run a software company called Berry Softwares. I run a non-profit organization called Techno Global, right? These are two different entities. And I think these are reasons why, quote unquote, I need to get noticed, right? Because I think I have a skill, and having a skill does not bring you opportunity, right? Having a visible skill is what brings you opportunity, right? I'm a software developer, and I play around with codes a lot. But at a very, very young age, I went for a conference, and I mean, you're a developer doesn't mean you are a known developer or you can solve problems. Let me say quote and unquote, because tech people or techie people, I don't know. I think the world has stereotyped us to a point where we are always at the corners of our laptops. But to solve problems, as our last speaker said, the world wants problem solvers, right? Regardless of your skill, right? If you are invincible, right? Somebody will not see you, quote and unquote. Employers, mentors, collaborator cannot know you exist, right? And when people or when opportunities do not meet you or do not know you exist, you cannot have those opportunities, right? Remember the topic of what I'm trying to say today. Why do we need exposure for our career and for our business, right? So I'm not just talking about why you need to be exposed. I'm saying why you need to be exposed for the positive part of your business and your career. So that's for your career wise. Regardless of how skilled you are, if your skill is not visible enough, you cannot have opportunities, and that's for your career, right? For your business, it goes back there. Or you have a service you render to the world. I mean, let's give the worst of examples. You're a very good massager, right? I mean, that's a service you could render. But if nobody knows about your skill, opportunities cannot meet you, right? That's that. And the most important part is for your personal brand, right? The world is evolving, and I'm going to say that I was having a conversation with Bukola Aladisulu and Victor Shaka, I think, a few days ago, as to why, as young chain makers, we've been forced into showing up online, and it feels like it has become a bragging right, right? Give me a minute, please.
Hello, Mr. David. We can no longer hear you. Since he has quickly gone into something.
Oh,
So
so sorry.
while we wait,
Sorry.
okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. As I was saying, I was talking about personal brand, and I was talking about the fact that I was having a conversation about why, as young people, we've been forced to always show up online, right? Because that's the truth. That is the generation in which we are. If you don't show up, opportunities will pass you by, and that's the truth. And it is not something you argue with, right? It's just something we have to adapt to, right? And for your personal brand, right? Reputation travels a lot faster, and the only way people know you is by showing up. And that's how, I mean, your brand has to speak for you in a very positive way, right? I'm so sorry, something's distracting me. I'm back now. Now, I was talking about exposure and why you have to show up online and you have to show up positively, quote and unquote. I'm very, very keen on being positive about how you show up. There's something about exposure, right? Because when you show up and you do not show up positively, right? Somebody else can interpret your exposure and define it for you, right? How do I interpret this, right? It's one thing to say I'm running a startup, right? And I want my startup to do, I'm so sorry I'm using startup. I'm a tech person, I'm so sorry. I think I'm just going to change the example and say, oh, let's say you are, the massager, for example, has a brand and she's showing up online, right? But she's not passing the right narrative, right? The exposure could be interpreted in a very, very wrong perspective by somebody else, right? So it's one thing to show up, it's another thing to show up the right way, so your exposure is not interpreted the wrong way. I hope you're getting that, right? My time is flying, and I don't know when I started. I have a lot of things to say. I have 4 pillars of positive exposures. Back to what I said, these things are things I think me myself I have followed, and there are evidence to this. So I'm just giving you back the template I think I am following that has worked for me, right? Number 1, clarity of value, right? You must have, you must know your value as a person, right? Before you even show up, before they know you on LinkedIn, you as a person, you as an entity, do you know your value, right? Do you have a value, right? And I think there's a series of questions you should ask yourself when we talk about clarity of value. Number 1, what problem do I solve, right? I'm going to go back to my story again. I grew up in a very, very underserved community, and lucky for me, I left home quite fast, and I became a techie, quote unquote. I was fascinated by technology. Then COVID happened. I was in university then I go back home. Then I found out that a lot of my colleagues, my peer groups, do not have an idea about a lot of things when we talk about technology, right? I mean, I'm not even talking about social media, and I'm talking about the basic of things like how to open a folder. If I tell you guys, like some of the, like a grown man does not know how to operate a computer. And that is just what it is. There's no explanation to it, right? And I'm like, this is a problem I have to solve. Quote and unquote, that's not the way I put it. I think I might be exaggerating that. What I said was, I want to teach these people what I know, so at least they can know something for themselves. But we can redefine that to, what problem are you solving? As of that time, 2020, I wanted to solve the problem of digital illiteracy in my community. Now, the next question you should ask yourself is, who do I solve it for, right? Back home, I was solving it for my community people, right? For the young people in my own neighborhood, right? And why does it matter? I think why it really mattered to me was because I stay in Badagry and I stay very close to the border. And a lot of young people, when they're in JS3, when they're done, they go back to smuggling, right? Smuggling is the trend. We call it firewall, right? And the young ladies, they sell I've forgotten the word. There is this leaf that we use for echo, like we use for, I don't know the English word for echo. That's what away frame. Yes, that's what the ladies do. Most of them get pregnant at just 3. They are back to their husband's house. So why did it matter to me? Because I didn't like what I was seeing around me, and I did not see a future for myself in that community. Hence why I wanted to solve this problem, right? If you can answer these questions, what problem are you solving? Who are you solving it for? And why does it matter? You have a clarity of a vision, right? And if your vision is clear, right, people will remember you, right? It is when if your value is clear, that's when people will remember you. Now, if your value is not clear, people will remember you. And that's where exposure comes back. You showing up the right way. Because when you're showing up the right way, you're showing up with the right value, right? So that's the first pillar, clarity of value, right? Number 2 is storytelling. I think we're in an era where storytelling is supposed to be a fundamental course right from nursery 1, and that's the truth. Because everybody, like, I came here now and I grew up in Badagry, blah, 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 blah. I can promise you that every 7 persons, or we have a lot of people on this call, every 1, 2, 3, 4 persons grow up in an underserved community. But are you going to tell the story the way I'm telling it? No. How do you tell somebody the same story that you might be going through and they're wild? Wow. Like, storytelling is key, right? People don't connect to titles. When he was reading my title, my profile, is this, is that, is this, is that. I'm not freaked by that. I'm so sorry if that's the wrong word. But when I tell you my story, when I kind of like told you who you were, I'm sure, okay, what does he have to say, right? So people don't connect with your titles. They connect with your journey, right? And that's the key to exposure, right? Don't just come online, or don't just talk about your titles, talk about your journey, right? That's why I shared my Badagry story from the beginning, right? That story is not just an information to you. I use that as a connection, as a means of connection to you, right? I'm sure so many people will not remember my titles, but I'm very, very sure people will remember the part where I talked about I grew up in an underserved community, blah, 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 blah. So for you, when you're telling your story, we tend to not share our struggles, but please do share your struggles, right? Share your lessons. Let people see the human side of you, right? And I tell you, when opportunity comes to you, this is really, really what they want, right? I'm going to digress a little bit. I'm going to tell you the story. I got an opportunity to go with the last cohort of the Lagos State Youth Ambassadors to Finland. And it was just because of my storytelling ability. I got on a call with the commissioner of youth, of the Ministry of Youth, and I didn't even know it was an interview. I didn't know it was just the storytelling of it. I can promise you, in Lagos State, there are 10,000 other young people. I'm so sorry. Let me just check my time if I am, or okay. Yeah, there are so many other people that are doing amazing things, right? But I think, quote and unquote, the ability to share my story is what got me the opportunity. So knowing your value, knowing how to tell the story is very, very key. And number three, which I think everybody before me has said, is the platform and positioning, right? I mean, there are three platforms. Number one, the online platform. I don't have to go that route and talk about how you have to show up online, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I mean, don't just do a lot of scrolling. Don't just post randomly. Position yourself as a thought leader. My mentor will tell me, David, be a thought leader in your sector, right? Not just like be a thought leader. Each and every one of us, we have experience. Talk like you, like there's a way you talk, and people tend to want to hear more from you, right? Don't just talk like, I think you get my point. Thought leadership, right, is the second one, right? Thought leadership, online platform. And when I talk about thought leadership, it goes beyond just posting. I mean, write articles, right? AI has made a lot of things easier for us. Be a guest on podcasts, right? Contribute to conversations in your industries. There is a trend going on Twitter. Drop a long trend on it, right? Talk about what you think about it. Don't tend to shy away from trends, right? That's how you become a thought leader. And this is how you position yourself like in a positive way, right? And lastly, the offline platform, which I think goes a long way, right? Be in the right rooms, right? One handshake, one introduction can do a lot, right? You go to conferences, like you go to DevFest, for example. Why did I use a tech example again? I'm so sorry. You go to like a conference, for example, and you're just all listening. I mean, there's a lot of conference you go to, and sometimes just show up a little bit, introduce yourself the right way, shake somebody and connect with the person, and that might be your next opportunity, right? And the fourth pillar is consistency and integrity. It's been a long ride for me personally, right? When I started in 2020, it was a lot for me, but I kept on showing up, right? And by God's grace, the fruit of the labor is here today, right? Exposure is one thing, but you keep showing up is another thing entirely. And you're not just showing up because you want to show up for showing up's sake. You're showing up with the right value. You're delivering value back to back, right? I mean, for example, I like using myself as an example. I think that's how I tend to communicate. When I started my nonprofit organization, Tech Now Global, I had the goal, right? I want to solve the problem of digital illiteracy in rural communities. Fine. That has helped me for so many years. In 2024, I realized that, quote unquote, I am tired of doing programs, right? I thought about it and I'm like, I'm tired of programs. I want to start producing products, right? Because oh, okay. So, so sorry. Programs to product, right? And I started various softwares which were producing solutions in product forms, right? That's that about me, and that's the template I've been using, which has, by God's grace, positioned me where I am today. And I think with these few points I have given, we've been able to get something. I have a lot to say, but my time is up. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here. I'm still here for questions if you have.
Thank you so much, Mr. David. That was very, very insightful. It was even also a practical session with your insight into storytelling. I was quite captivated by yours, your journey through Badagry to your current, to where you are currently. It's the story really captivated me and inspires also. And I want to ensure that for anyone who has questions right now, we'll be skipping the questions to when, since you're already at the ending of we're coming to like the ending after one more speaking session, we have an audience engagement session. So please, if you have questions, kindly type them out on the comment section or on the Q&A box, and they will all be attended to even by the audience engagement session. I'll be going right into the next speaking session, that will be having a very, very powerful woman speak to us. Allow me to introduce to us Barrister Miriam Bakar Nyanabo. She's a passionate communicator, lawyer, seasoned master of ceremonies, and a John Maxwell certified life coach, speaker, and trainer. She spent 13 years at the Central Bank of Nigeria, building a career that spanned the legal, corporate communications, and development finance sector. She also served as the head of advocacy and communication at the National Collateral Registry, where she led public advocacy initiatives and managed corporate communication. Mr. Barrister Mimika is deeply committed to human capacity development, both at the personal and organizational levels, believing it is key to driving growth and success. So please can we all welcome Barrister Mimika Nyanambo, and she speaks to us on effective communication for career building. Welcome, Ma. Glad to have
Welcome,
you.
Ma. Thank you so much for joining. It's really a very great opportunity to have you here, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Can you confirm that you can hear me?
Good evening, Ma. Yes, we can hear you very much.
Yes,
Oh,
ma.
good. Okay, so we hit the ground running. We don't have much time. And well done to the organizers and every speaker who's had a chance. They've done a fantastic work, laying a very good foundation. And so I'll just see how we can maximize the time we have to make the most out of it. I'm going to be speaking on effective communication for career building. And I'd like to say a few things here that when you get the world of career, it's a different ballgame from being in school or any other thing you've done before. So stepping into the workplace, you need to, there's a decorum, there's a comportment required to thrive in that space. How you speak, how you carry yourself, what you say, when you say it, how you say it is so critical. It can be the difference between gaining an opportunity and losing a very vital opportunity. What you say, how you say it, who are you speaking to understand that the different strata in any organization. You have your bosses, you have your superiors, you have your contemporaries, you have those beneath you. And how you speak to all those people, it doesn't matter what you think you know, can have a major impact on how far you go in your career. Every day you go to work, opportunities are being presented to you. I heard someone speak about how he went from his very simple background to being able to step into lots of opportunities. And you see, that's the power of storytelling, understanding who you are and being able to communicate your value to the people that you interact with every day. Storytelling is a very powerful skill. Now let's go to communication. That's simply being able to pass a message from one person to another. So from you, speaking for yourself, speaking for your organization, speaking to an audience, speaking to your boss, speaking to your contemporaries, you have a message you want to convey. Now, how do you convey that message? Whether you're speaking on behalf of an organization, you're speaking about yourself, talk about storytelling, your experiences. But how you do these things can make a world of difference. Now, the skill of communication is one skill, it's one of the top 3 skills the employers look out for. It is so critical. When we talk about communication, not every communication is even verbal. So when you open your mouth to speak, that's verbal communication. But before you even speak, there are many things that you're already doing that are passing across a message. Remember, I said communication is the art of passing across a message. So before you even start speaking, many things about you are already sending out a message. So when people judge you, people listen to you or not listen to you, there are many things that make up the verbal and non-verbal aspects of communication. So things like, for example, even your dressing. If you come and you're looking untidy in a formal work environment, for example, I worked in the banking sector for a number of years. There's a dress code for that industry. So you can't even be coming, for example, for an interview in the bank and you're wearing your t-shirt and jeans. without saying a word, you might be ready for that interview. But before you open your mouth, you're already losing points. Because it's presumed that if you want to work in this space, you should have gone to do your background research to understand the industry. That can work for some, maybe the communications, the creative spaces, and all of that. But for a place like a bank, that is totally unacceptable. Some banks, for example, have colors, they work color codes. You cannot come into some most banks, most formal organizations have the what do you call them now? Some kind of subtle colors, the blues, the grays, the black, Only, like I said, the creative industry is a different world altogether. So understand the industry you're stepping into. And know what happens here, what works, what is permissive, and what is not permissive. So you might have a lot of value, but if you don't show up well and communicate that value or present yourself properly, without, like I said, without even opening your mouth, you've told them that you're not ready for this industry. It will take someone who has extra time to listen to you, who, let's even give this person a chance. But believe me, every role you're vying for, there are thousands of people vying for that role. Nobody has time to give you that extra attention. So you need to understand this and then take yourself seriously. Because every day, everything you do, you're communicating. Now, what are you doing when you're communicating? You're building credibility. You're building relationships, a connection, and you're speaking for clarity. I'm going to just run real fast because of our time. Now, clarity. In the world of work, or generally for speaking, one thing you must always do is, they say less is more. Go straight to the point. It's not about impressing people. Rather, you use simple words and pass across your message, whether it's written communication, whether it's spoken communication. The important thing is, does the other person understand what you're saying? I function a lot as a trainer and a master of ceremonies now. You can come and think you're impressing the audience with all your big words. But if, for example, I'm speaking to, so when I got this invite, the first thing I asked was, who am I speaking to? I've learned to ask that question. So I want to say this to you. Every time you have to speak, whether it's all right, your first question is, who is my audience? The way I will speak to children will not be the way I'll speak to adults, not the way I'll speak to young adults. So what phase of life? What's the demographics of my audience? Then you can choose the tone, the right words for them. I talked about different strata in organizations. If I'm speaking to my boss, even in some organizations where you use first name, the tone must definitely be respectful. A lot of organizations in Nigeria, you don't even use first name, but there are a few who have the American style, the British style, and they allow you to do first names. There are a few like that. But even at that, you should know, am I speaking to my contemporary? So the tone of the mail, for example, even when it's written, is different from if I was talking to my peer or my subordinates. You see how communication differs based on who you're speaking to. So understanding your audience is so key. So avoid the jargon. Go straight to the point. Make your message relatable. Does the person you're speaking to understand what you're saying? We all know about the Senator Obahi Agbon, who always likes to use big words, and people just laugh at him, but half of people don't even understand what he's saying. And that's that. So you need to always understand who you are speaking to per time. Always understand who you're speaking to per time and ensure that they understand what you're saying. That's that for that. Then next thing you need to also learn if you're going to survive in the workplace for communication skills is learn confidence. Now, doesn't matter what part of the ladder you are, you have something to offer. You have something to give. Let me even say now, when you talk about confidence, from even your posture, if you come and you're slouching, you come and you're fidgeting, I see you visibly playing with your hands, it tells me this person is not confident. So you see, even when I talk about communication, it's a full course. There's the things you do that you do without even saying a word, that are non-verbal, impact on even the things you say verbally. So communication is just a very vast area. Eye contact. A person who is not sure of themselves will ideally not look at the audience. Why? Because they're either shy or not confident. So some of us who, by virtue of our training, have been told we don't look at all the adults in the face and all that, need to work on that. Now, I do a lot of public speaking, facing with audiences. What we do is you shift your gaze strategically. Let's say you're in a meeting, you're supposed to speak to a small room or a big room. Don't stare at one person for too long. What do? You shift your gaze strategically from left to right. So that way everybody feels seen across the entire room. Now you might be asked to come and do a presentation at work. This is what you do. From one person, first of all, you start with the key players in the room. When you're greeting them, you should be looking at so every room you enter, who's the key player? Who's the guest? Who's the boss? Start from there. Do your introductions. Acknowledge them. Then take your eyes across the room from one part to the other. So eye contact is very critical. You cannot be talking to your boss and feeling with your phone. That's disrespectful. So no matter how genuine your intentions are, if your conduct speaks otherwise, you're selling yourself short. And when they appraise us, you wonder, why, after all, but your work is good. But they also judge things around attitude. And that's why these soft skills are very, very critical. Look people in the face. Not being cocky, but being respectful. Stand tall. Then your tone and pace. Some of us speak like I speak quite fast. I had to learn to consciously maybe because I do a lot of interfacing with crowds. Learn to consciously work on my pace. And then your tone. Depending on who you're speaking to. There's a tone you use for a superior. It is outwardly disrespectful. So you see, even your tone should be managed, depending on who you're speaking to, depending on what you're saying, depending on even the environment. If it's a happy moment, of course your tone will be high and real pitched high. If it's a sober moment, a funeral, you won't come and be screaming. So you see, you have to keep adjusting based on where you find yourself per time. We're talking about the world of work. Another thing we all have to learn is active listening. Many of us are quick to talk. But you see, you need to learn that other people, the same way you think you have, other people too have value. And the very good listener will pick things that are not being said. I talk about non-verbal communication. So you step into a room. Don't want to be the first to throw yourself around. Step back, observe the room. Like I said, find who are the power players. Find out who are the ones that call the shots in the room. If you had to walk up to two people after this meeting, who would those two people be? So step back and listen. And when you have listened, then you can make an active and very deliberate and intentional contribution. So most people listen to speak. You should listen to understand, because what happens, you're constantly sharing opinions back and forth. I listen to you, you respond to me, I come back again. I also learn to listen. Listening skills are very critical in the world of work. Show attention. You're speaking to me, I nod. I ask, and if I don't listen, for example, I moderate panels a lot of public speaking. And so I'm checking, as I'm speaking, I'm checking the audience. For example, if they can't hear me, you see people trying to squeeze or people being uncomfortable. So these are things that they're not saying a word, but if I'm looking at my audience, I can pick things that would help me know that, okay, I need to probably adjust my tone, or they can't hear me, or they're uncomfortable. So you see, even whether you're talking one-on-one, you're talking to a crowd, you need to learn that eye contact, right? Looking out for the other person is critical. It's bigger. The world is bigger than you. So if you're talking to me, I nod, I listen, even on the phone. You know how you're talking to a friend? After a while, you go, are you still there? Because the person is just quiet. But you say, okay, that's fine. Yes, I hear you. If for those in customer care, for example, if you pick up the phone, you say, hello, good morning. There's a tone you start out with. The person is happy and feels like, oh, good day. So even when you call your friends on the phone and you go, hello, and the person sounds very dull, and are you okay? That's your first reaction. So you see how your tone affects so many things, whether it's in physical conversations or even on the phone, virtual conversations. These things are so critical. If you don't listen, you don't even know the follow-up questions to ask. Now, we must learn to listen to understand and not just to reply, right? Now, adjust your style for whoever it is. Match your tone. So at every point in time, you're changing your tone, your style based on who you are speaking to per time. Now, let's say this. Let's bring it down to a lot around career. So if you go for a job interview, ask the question. You're here to basically sell yourself. Sell yourself. So for every question you ask, you should have been so familiar with your CV that you can tell what you did and when you did, how you did it. So you'll be able to tell your story. Like someone talk about storytelling, very important. That tells your motivation. Why did I do this? Why am I doing it? If you relate to me, well, I'm always asking why. So why are you doing it? What's the rationale? If you don't have a strong why, you won't go for many things you set out to do. Life is, let's say you step into an environment, for example, and it's in a networking event. So you meet somebody at first, usually we want to pour our life history on somebody, but everybody likes to be listened to. So you speak when introduce yourself, ask the person, people like to talk about themselves. So the person who listens and chips in when necessary, right, helps the other person to feel heard. So if you go to people, when you're superiors, listen more than you talk. Why? Because there's so much knowledge you're going to be getting from them. But if you come and you talk and talk and talk and talk, I'm like, are you done? Have a good day. So you now have learned what you wanted to learn. So when you're in meetings, in conversation with your superior, ask questions and listen for the answer. Like I say, look at people's faces, look at their gestures. Don't be fooled by everything people say. If we learn to listen more and observe, there are many things that are not spoken that you will see. And we'll tell you that a person can be saying one thing, but they mean something entirely different. You pick a lot of unspoken cues. And the workplace. The workplace is a very interesting space. Someone said that your colleagues are not your friends. They're just here for you to come do your work and get out. You want to discern who exactly is on the same team with you. Lots of people wear camouflage. They're just looking for cues to go snitch around the bosses and co. So don't think that it's like your secondary school university where all of you are on the same page. In the world of work, there's competition, spoken or unspoken. So listen more. Then when you speak when necessary with knowledge. You get into your workplace, learn to keep your personal life out of the workspace. So you get to know people very well. Decide who you want to share work with. When you step into the world of work, first of all, keep it professional, keep it about the work. I'm trying to pick what else to. Now there's something called an elevator pitch. Everyone should work on this. And the origin of this is that imagine you got into a lift. If you run a business and you're on this call, and you met, so you step into the elevator is going to, and you met somebody you've always wanted to meet. Maybe you meet a Dangote, a founder, or somebody who can add value to your life, what they call Nigerian parlance, a destiny helper. And you're not sure where this guy is going to go up the lane, whether he's going to go up on the next floor. In 30 seconds, how can you sell what you do to the person? Whether you want the person to become a mentor, if you want, the person can in some way impact your life. It's called an elevator pitch. Now, what are the basic things you should be able to put together? So something you rehearse and you keep handy, so you never know where you're going to need this thing. First of all, who you are, what you do, and what value you bring. So who am I? What do I do? And then what the value does what I do bring to whatever related to who the person is. Like I said, if you're going to look for anything from a superior or anybody you want something from, find out how it connects to what they do. Be able to explain a lot about what you do in very simple and sharp terms, 30 seconds. So that's an assignment I'm going to give to everyone here. When you leave this call, go and go an elevator pitch. And in summary, write it down for everything for your work, for your impact projects, for everything you do. I just have them well off your heart and in your brain somewhere. You never can tell what opportunity will meet you. And as I begin to wind down, I'm going to say this. Effective communication borders on 3 major things. I said them before, I'm going to repeat them again. Clarity, simple, concise language. You're not impressing anybody. They say there's a key somewhere. Keep it simple and short. Simple. These days, people do a lot of with ChatGPT. I beg you, when you go to ChatGPT, sit down and read that thing to yourself. Don't just leave something, hook, line, and sinker. But junior colleagues do that. And they believe something on ChatGPT. They don't understand that when ChatGPT is there to help you. When you get it, you modify to your situation. Bring it home. Tweak the words. Every organization has a language, has a tone. So tweak it to your house style. Because the person can also this is lifted up from somewhere. I read second one is your confidence. It shows in your gestures, your courage, your words. The next one is learn to build your listening skill. More than you speak, listen. But if you're starting out in career, listen more than you speak. And adaptability, read the
Hello, Ma. We can't hear you again. You aren't audible again, Ma. Hello, Boris. Come in back up. You're back now. You aren't audible again.
I guess it's a network incident.
Okay, possibly. Okay, so she just network has she has having she encountered some issues on our end. So that was a very wonderful and insightful session into communication. And let me sort of offer that something then in relation to work or any environment we come into. Understanding the lay of the land, the demography, the people that are on the team within the room, listening more than we speak for storytelling and elevator pitches. I was just taking down notes as I've been doing since the beginning of the session. So just she have a lot more to share with us, but we're just moving into the audience engagement segment of the webinar. So we're having a panel reflection and an open question and answer. So a big shout out to all our distinguished speakers so far. Barrister Akinola, Mr. Daniel, sorry, Mr. David, and Mr. Joel, and Barrister Nembaka also. The Simmons, only Barrister Akinola is with us currently right now. Seems now all the speakers have to attend to something. Quickly, Barrister Nembaka will be with us shortly also. She sent me a message that she had contact, so hiccups and preparing us shortly. So, Barrister Akinola, please, are you with us?
Oh, yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you so much. So personally, I really did enjoy your session.
Thank you.
There are a lot of things that you said earlier in the session about, especially one thing that struck me was about the Twitter space, Personally, I've come to understand, as you said, that our social media can be like, quote unquote, like a semi-CV of sorts. If employers want to get a bio on you, they can like go and search up through that and like look through, I push this individual, what they do. Please, can you like speak more on that and like shed more light and like your experiences and the key things they look out for in this social media pages and regarding things that catch them off guard or otherwise.
Okay. Okay. I think when Mr. David was speaking, he touched a bit, on it. Like it's how do I put it? Okay, it's just how you present yourself, making yourself a kind of thought leader, a kind of thought speaker. You follow up on trends, not just following up on trends of, when we say it's following trends, in most cases, people will refer it to, okay, comedy, looking at controversial things that are happening, social issues, all of that, but not necessarily that, but you have insight and you are able to prefer solutions to trends within that is relevant to your niche. For example, I'm in the compliance space, more on data protection than anything, right? If I am to see an issue that has maybe data protection breaches or a breach of personal data in some regard, right? On my Twitter, I can speak about it, write a thread about it, write news about it. Typically, it's more or less like, okay, the things that you would do on LinkedIn, carry it over. But the leeway you have with Twitter is that you are able to project not just your hard skills, not just your technical know-how, but you have the leeway to also project your soft skills as well to show that you are more than the work. Like you can offer more than the work, right? But there's also the work aspect to you. Whereas on LinkedIn, you might not really be able to project some of those, more jovial sides of yourself. You might not be able to because everybody is so serious and you have to be so professional, right? But with Twitter, you're able to do a lot more. You're able to explore. You're able to show sides of yourself that you ordinarily would not be able to. So it provides, at least for me, this is my opinion, but it provides gives a more rounded overview of who you are, and we're in a day and age where, people believe that what you like, what you follow, what you retweet, what you repost is a reflection of your thought process. So organizations try to use that to have an understanding of what is in your mind exactly. What exactly is in your mind? Are you somebody who you are intelligent, but you keep reposting maybe misogynistic content? Things like that they want to know because it has an effect in the workspace. So it's something that people need to be mindful of. I know a lot of foreign organizations do what we know or what we call background checks, right? So, and one of the things they do check is your digital footprint. What are those things that you are following? What are you interested in? And it cuts across most of your social media. So everything needs to be projecting what you want them to see. All the platforms need to be projecting what you want them to see. What do you want them to see about you? Do you want them to see that you're a jovial person who is also a thought leader, who is also an innovator? Then make sure that your social media reflects that. Yeah. And I didn't mention this before, but one of the things that led me or that got me to the job I'm currently in was it started from my WhatsApp before my Twitter, from my WhatsApp status. So usually I would post news on, if I see something on data protection, some things on AI as well, I would post and I would speak about it on my status. And somebody who wasn't per se conversant with the field said, "Oh, I know somebody who works in this space. Speak to so person." I got in contact with the person. The person kind of became my mentor in the space. Then, told me to take a look at the Twitter platform of TechHive, which is the current company I'm working with. And then I took a look at it, saw what they were doing, got more insight into the space, which I would eventually now repost, retweet, on my page alongside other content. And those were the things that really helped me out at the end of the day. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, because a lot of people focus on LinkedIn. Expand.
Yeah.
Expand. It's not just one source. Expand. It can come from anywhere, really. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. So
Please permit me to add something to that.
Yeah.
If we're conversant with what's happening in the world today, even embassies now look for a digital footprint.
Yes.
So we know that the US embassy is stronger than, but it began this years before now. I mean, I remember as far back as 4 or 5 years ago, when you think your visa application forms, people ask for social media handles. Now they're a lot more serious, so they're drilling down now. So it says that everything you do is important. You cannot claim to just be catching crews online and you're selling yourself short or meddling with things that don't reflect your true personality. You'll be shocked at how far that will go. The world is a global village. So just to buttress the point he made, I think it's something that we need to take a lot seriously. Be sure that whatever you put out there reflects your true personality, your brand, and your values in life. Because you never can tell who sees what. Thank you.
thank you so much, Master, for sharing that. And thank you also, Stephanie, for also sharing it. Wow. Professionalism across all social media platforms, not just LinkedIn. Guys, are you hearing? So there are so many memes surrounding LinkedIn. The world, how someone takes one line and makes a whole professional output out of it. So guys, not only LinkedIn again. Let's go do that on Twitter, on Instagram. on all our social media platforms. Put your mind, put your thoughts, express yourself as you want to be seen. As Mr. David said earlier, intentional, purposeful exposure that's positive in impact and has positive impact. It's also glad to have you back, Barrister Bakar. Since earlier you encountered some issues, or is it like that? But so let's just say something, or I don't know, ask some questions regarding your earlier session that you took. In line with communication. So when you talk about communication, you talk about reading the room. And I want to ask that how do we do this in a way that we don't become so careful and so conscious of every single person in our space that it impedes our capacity to effectively communicate? That we are so scared, I won't say scared, but so conscious of stepping on so many toes that impedes our capacity to either the blunt, have clarity, or so many things as regarding communication. Please, I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
So the most important thing in communication is being able to be concise and being able to say what it is. What I said, what I was trying to buttress really was understanding who you are communicating with. The same question can be structured differently for different audiences. You can say something and it's like, oh, great guys, you're contemporaries and laughing. For example, even your language. So if it's a formal setting, for example, then you're throwing in slangs. You know how, because we're so used to doing things now shorthand, everybody's typing and chatting. And you come into formal communication in the office, you're sending a mail, and you now begin to use shorthand. That's totally unprofessional. That's what I mean. So I'm not saying distort your message. I'm not saying dim your personality. I'm just saying understand where you are per time and adapt. So you cannot be using short forms of words in your formal work environment, right? If you come into a meeting, for example, you have a question to ask, by all means, interestingly, most bosses are even impressed when they see juniors who want to respond or chip into something. But if you understand the organization, for example, sometimes in some offices, they want to hear from certain cadres first. They cannot be asking a certain cadre, and you are junior, you just jump in because you think you have something to say. Do you understand? That's what I mean. So understanding the decorum, understand your organization, know what works in that organization, right? And then work in line with that. If they do yes, sir, yes, ma'am, stick to your yes, sir, yes, ma'am. So respectfully say what you have to say, but understand the rules. They use first names. By all means, do first names. But ensure that your understanding of the context is emotional intelligence. So say what you want to say, but adjust your tone and choose your words based on the room you're in. Do you understand? So don't dim your personality.
Yes.
Speak up. But emotional intelligence is understanding where am I, who am I speaking to, and then use the right words and the right context to say what it is that you want to say.
Okay. Thank you so much, man. Emotional intelligence. Oh, is this embarrassing? I think the last something you'd like to share with us. Yes, sir?
Yes. So just to buttress on what she said, the workspace at Tech Hype. Okay, so we utilize a system that is much similar to what she was describing. So it's like we're on a first name basis with everybody, right? But the reality is you have to, despite the fact that people are trying to not tear down, but make it seem like those walls don't exist so you can express yourself. They are trying to break down those walls of hierarchy so you don't get so stiff, but it is still implied that you are to know how to relate with each and every one. I can't look at my boss and just go and meet my boss and then I'm just using slangs in an official meeting. No matter how we banter, no matter how we gist, and my boss is the kind of person that we banter with you. He will sit down, he will banter, you will have a laugh, we dance, we play, that's it. But you can't come to an official meeting and, you are using banter, or you want to send him an official email and then you are using slangs and all of the above. It doesn't work. So there's a time and there's a place for everybody. I tell my friends that we are friends, right? But once we get into the part where we are supposed to have a business communication, we become business buddies. It's not a matter of friendship anymore. We don't start doing, my guy, how far? It's Mr. So, 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 and so. You said this, you did this, you did this. How do we go about this? And all this is to keep the sanctity of the workplace. Not that and like she said, it plays a very big role in showing how what kind of a person you are, how disciplined you are, how much self-control you have. So it's necessary for us, because I think sometimes as youths we seek comfort so much so that we find it difficult to to say or do the right things where we need to, because we prioritize our comfort. So the easiest way for us to speak is to speak in pidgin. So we want to try and look for a place that allows us to express that place. So when we need to do the right thing and speak the right way, we find it difficult to do so. All which has a reflection and a play on who we are. If we are going to be global giants, we need to know when to speak, where to speak, how to speak, to whom to speak, the manner to speak. So yeah, just felt to buttress on that.
Thank you so much, sir. Wow, that was a podcast. That was really good. So thank you so much for your understanding background, Jack's insightful um message on communication, emotional intelligence, positioning, and I think Ms. Gabriel, I don't know, I said she had something to the question to ask earlier.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Thank you so much, every single participant that has stayed till now. Thank you, Suji Bumi. Thank you so much, Becca. Thank you so much. So my question is, I have two questions actually. The first is, how are you? Let's say you're called today. Okay, let's say you're called 30 minutes before the exact time of an event, and then you're called to speak. How do you put in your emotions together, your anxiety, the right words to say at that short space of time and still deliver effectively? So now my second question is having to learn to listen. I know many of us will be like, I know how to listen, but I should be very, very sincere. I struggle sometimes to listen. You understand? Like when people talk, you're like, it's not like you're not listening to them, but when I'm asked, okay, what did I say? What did I say? I get the whole thing, but having to learn to listen and not just we have people that can be quiet and there are people that listen. There's a difference from being quiet and being a very good listener. People that listen, pay attention to details, but I can be quiet and not even listen to you. I might be, like how some of us will do, and not even listening. So, like, how can one be a good listener, and how can you communicate effectively? Let's say you're called for an event within a short space of time. Thank you so much, ma'am.
There are two things I'm going to say. They're more than trying to impress the crowd or whoever it is you're speaking to. People just want genuine connections. Everybody in your crowd is a human being. So the first thing they want to see is your ability to connect with them. Many of the times they want to go there and try to impress, but it's not really about impressing. They want to see that you're human, that they can relate with you. So one thing I'm going to say first of all is, I can always ask, who am I speaking to? Who's my audience? When you understand your audience, the first thing you want to find is areas of similarity. Are they people who are your contemporaries? If they are, storytell. Find what do I have in common. Once you can build that connection, you've caught their attention, and you got their attention in the first few minutes. Second is, so if you have any experience that connects you to them. Second is, Google what's the event, what am I speaking about? Find the statistics, shock them with the statistics. So do you realize that 90% of people who do X, Y, and they're like, really? Oh wow, how? And then you begin to talk from them. So they ask a question. But they just be real. I just got to know about this. So let's just have a conversation. So that means people want to see authenticity. The rather you're real and genuine than you're trying to put up a facade, because trying to impress. Sometimes we even build walls. I'm like, okay, well, you stay in your high castle. You're ready. Then we can have it. So you have spoken for, but you have not connected with the people. So I've given you like 3 or 4 things. Ask a question. Google a statistics real sharp. The other one is even ask questions as simple as, what's your name? Where you here? Where you from? Try to connect with your audience. It doesn't have to be some very intellectually serious questions. It's afternoon. How have we've had lunch? As simple as that. Hope it wasn't too stressful getting here. Everyday questions. But it shows that, like I say, more than you want to give the substance of what you've said, people want that you genuinely care. That goes to listening. If I care about you, I will stop what I'm doing and listen to what you're saying. Today's world is very busy. So you're talking to me, I'm chatting, talking to me, I'm doing email, all of that. But see, if you genuinely care about the person, you would give them that 5 minutes of the day to listen to what they are saying to you. So sometimes we need to learn in our busy. Sometimes you see people on the road with their earpieces, AirPods, everybody's working and cover their ears. But sometimes we need to slow down and connect with you. So you have lots of people. So how they say you can be in a space with people, but then most people are actually alone. There are very few genuine connections. And it's something we need to be deliberate about. Especially the people that you have to deal with, your bosses. Because I can't give you an instruction. You come back 5 minutes and you're asking me a question. You're already getting me upset at that point. I spoke to you, you looked at me, your mind was wherever it was. I expect that if I'm giving you an instruction in the workplace, you're taking notes. And then at least you come up with a draft, and then we can work on that draft and clarify it together. When I know what I'm talking to you, you're looking at me and you're probably even nodding. Then you come and ask me the same thing I said all over again. No way. And so these are very simple. So take notes if it's possible. As you're speaking to me, I'm taking notes. So exactly do you want from me? Or record things and go back and listen to them. But we have to be deliberate about where it matters most. At home with siblings, with family. Look at people in the face. Look about eye contact. Your colleagues. Somebody can be there, nobody notices because everybody is busy with their phones. That's terrible. There's a culture we have to be deliberate about. Family, superiors, and then your colleagues. It's important. So if you're talking to me, can you spare me and look me in the face and listen to what I'm saying? Now talk about the workplace. If you're with your superiors, it is important. Like I say, you just look so irresponsible that I told you something a few minutes ago, and you come back and you ask me that same thing. How am I? Can't be repeating myself 10 times now. If I have 10 staff, I tell you one thing 5 times. What I want to have to get with other people? After a while, you know what? I just ignore you. This one is not even serious. And I go to their people. The world of work is not your family setting up. Everybody is trying to put their best foot forward. So if by your constant bad habits, you portray yourself as somebody who is not interested in the work, who is irresponsible, who cannot take instructions, who is always distracted, you're losing points for yourself already. People will give you one chance. A great boss will give you a second chance. Beyond that, you've marked yourself, but you're losing points in appraisal already. Then it not happen that somebody else moves ahead of them and say, but I'm better than him. That's your business, not your impression of yourself. Is your boss's impression of you. So you understand, who do I report to? Who calls the shot where my job is? Your team lead, your the head of the organization, people that you cannot afford to be absent-minded to. Then let's even come down to family. These things are critical. We're losing so much without. I do a lot with audiences. Even looking at the crowd, you know what to say per time. You can say a crowd is tired. You find a way to abridge that. That's not the time to come and start cracking jokes that don't have any relevance. They will leave you there and walk away. People are tired. So looking at people, look at people in the eye, it has more impact than we know. It has you even know somebody's not okay. Look and you're just talking. Look and you look up and realize that this person looks so stressed. Are you okay? This might not even be feeling well. And I think it's the other way. We will be bosses and subordinates. If a boss even look at the subordinate, realize that this person probably is not feeling well, then are you okay? Because if I can come and be breathing down on you, giving you 10 instructions, Meanwhile, your partner not even feeling well. So this thing called eye contact, it is critical, very, very critical. But for the audience, like I said, you called up something, find a way to bridge the gap. Be yourself. Tell them, look, I just found myself here, so we'll go on the journey together. And they laugh. So you when you make mistakes, they understand that especially just won't last me. Let's just be going, Sha. So don't need to impress. It's just be. I know it's a conversation with an audience. It's not about like you coming to impress an audience. No. When you show your humanity, of course, I'm not saying be unprofessional, but I'm saying show your humanity. They even support you. Say you forget that you see the audience even try to echo things to you to help you, but you have to first bridge that gap. I'm not saying be unprofessional. For example, I don't mean mispronouncing names. When you make that mistake, let's say okay, you're even called up few minutes at time, and that happens, apologize immediately. When you mix up people's names, make mistake with title, don't just run off and say afterwards. So, that's unprofessional. I hope I've thrown some light on this.
Yes, you have, Ma. Thank you so much for your response.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your response, Ma. You have shown a very, very big light on that. So, thank you to all our distinguished and wonderful speakers so far for such a wonderful knowledge-packed, impact-packed evening. I must say, I learned a lot, and I'm sure we all can say the same. You know, learning from every single speaker, every single topic that I was spoken about, my mind just kept getting bigger and bigger. Like I have so many things I want to go and work on now for my notes, steps I need to take, plans I need to make, changes I need to implement. And I can't. I'm just looking forward to the dimension of like the next level that is going to take me to. And it's astounding to look at. It's yeah. So moving on to the next session, where we have a closing remarks taken by Women Radio, with the representative from Women Radio being Lily Ben-Jack. Hello, Mr. Lily Ben-Jack. Please could you take the closing remarks? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. What an impactful evening this has been. On behalf of the organizers and partners, I want to thank all of our speakers for generously sharing your insights and experiences. You've not only guided us on how to navigate career success, but also reminded us of the power of skills, networks, and intentional growth. And to our anchors, thank you for steering today's conversation. A big thank you to everyone who joined us live. Thank you for investing your time in learning, engaging, and growing. Remember, the real work begins after today by applying the lessons, leveraging your skills, building strong network, and unlocking your potential. As we close, I encourage us to connect with one another, follow up with the speakers where possible, and continue this journey of intentional career development. Thank you once again for being part of the 2025 edition of the Career Navigation webinar. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ben-Jack, for that closing remark. I truly do appreciate it. And also a big thank you also to Women Radio for sponsoring also this event, and to all our speakers also a big thank you, Barrister Akilola, Westamin Leka, Mr. David Anode, and Mr. Joel Amoya. It is such a pleasure and such a privilege to have you guys here on the conversation this evening. So Ms. Deborah Anola will be taking the stage to round us off, and we'll say good night. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ms. Deborah Anola.
Well, thank you so much, distinguished speaker. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Especially, I want to say thank you to our panelists for their insightful contributions and to our audience for engaging in questions. I really want to say thank you. On behalf of the Women Radio, on behalf of the Hepzibah Foundation, I deeply appreciate our partners, organizers, and supporters who has made this possible. This is not the end, but the beginning of greater opportunities. And also, I would want to say thank you. I really have to mention names actually. I would want to say thank you so much to Mr. Hillary. So Mr. Hillary is our technical lead at the Women Radio. He's so good at what he does. He's just been an amazing person. So thank you so much from the beginning of the end of this event. He's been the one taking us through, and I really want to say thank you for that, Mr. Hillary. And also, I would want to say thank you to my boss in person of Madam Tong Okewale Sonaya, the founder of Women Radio. She's been so supportive. She's supposed to be present, but because of her schedule, she had to um send Miss Nimi, and Miss Nimi is one person I look up to at the Women Radio. Thank you so much, Miss Nimi. I know you have a lot on your table, but you had to still make it here. I also want to say thank you to Barrister Membaka Iyanabo, popularly known as Creative Maya. She is an amazing person. I've learned a lot working with her these few days, honestly. Her communication skill and desire is not just on this platform. Like she is, I don't know, she's wearing the garment every single time. I know, Lapa, you need to get this done. You need to get this done. And it's been an amazing experience. Thank you so much, ma, for this. I really don't. I don't know what to say. Like, I can't pay you. That's just, I can't pay any of the speakers. I can't pay the anchors. I can't pay Women Radio. I can't pay you. Thank you so much for dedicating your time. And that's the reason why I'm taking enough time to really say thank you. Silver and gold I have not, such as I have. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Akinrilola. I just told him today about it. It was today I told him. Look at the way he spoke. You could literally, in fact, you never figure that it was just today. I reached out to him today because our speaker, one of our speakers had to cancel because our flight was for 7 p.m. back to the UK. So we had to just, so I thank God I have amazing people. I have amazing mentors. I could always reach out to amazing friends like Oluwasuji Bomi JOK, who has been with me since 4 a.m. and will be, in fact, since last 2-3 weeks, I will be working back to back on this webinar. It's not been easy with the advice from Mr. Emmanuel, Miss Abigail. These are mighty people and workers of the Women Radio. I really want to say thank you. I would not be doing, I want to also say thank you to Mr. Jewel. Mr. Jewel was once my lesson teacher way back. It was once my lesson teacher. I want to say thank you, and he's a book god. That's what I'll say. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. I want to say thank you to Mr. David. He's representing Sir Victor Shaka, and Victor Shaka is one young, amazing person that I really look up to. He's doing amazing things, and they're both doing amazing things together. I want to say thank you. There are just so many things to talk about. So I want to say thank you to our sponsors. Am I missing out anybody? Think. I want to say thank you to no, I want to say thank you to our participants. I mean, imagine all four of us or all five of us talking to ourselves. I mean, it's not going to. I want to say thank you for staying from Isaac, from the beginning to the end. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Women Radio. They've the smooth running on the Zoom link. They were the ones that organized everything. Imagine we had used the WhatsApp platform, or because this is not just any kind of Zoom link, it's a well-structured one. Thank you so much for that. I want to say thank you to Afrivate. So what they do basically, it was founded by Oluwasuji Bomi, JOK, that's our anchor. So it's a forward-thinking African tech brand dedicated to elevating life and work across the continent. Affivate is building innovative solutions that connect young people to opportunities or employment, entrepreneurship, and skills development, with a vision to revolutionize. Why am I finding it difficult to say the African labor market? Affibate is creating a digital ecosystem where young Africans can find meaningful work, build careers, upskill, and thrive in today's fast changing economy. At its core, Afivate believes that Africans' greatest resource is its youth, and it is committed to unlocking their potential through technology, access, and innovation. So please, let's speakers, panelists, participants, please let's try to support this amazing startup. They're doing a lot. They're still seeking for funds, sponsorship, and a lot. So please, like Ms. Nimi said, it's a platform to collect people's numbers. You can ask me for Miss Miss Creative Maya's number. I'll ask her and then I'll give. But just know that you're going to be challenged to learn a lot, and it's an amazing thing. We also have Miss Nimi and Sir, our barrister, and then the rest speakers. Thank you so much, everyone. I think I've said a lot. Thank you, Jesus. Most importantly, thank you, Jesus, for this. It was not me. It was God. Thank God for this, and thank God it was a success. So please, we're going to be adding every single one of the participants to a group, so that in case there are opportunities or there are webinars like this, we can always reach out to you, and then you reach out to more people to spread the news. And again, we're going to be, if you want to be part of the Women Radio 91.7, the only women radio in Nigeria, please reach out to me, and then I'll send you the link or add you to the platform so that you get to see more young people, young minds that are trying to push for change. And lastly, very importantly, we're pushing for the visa seat bill. So please go and spread the news. We want more women in politics. We want more women representing. Look at the likes of my Creative Mind. Now imagine we have as the figure. Let me not say something, but it's going to be beautiful. So please, we want people like this leading the nation, leading Nigeria. We want people like my boss and all of us, even young people. Imagine us having Mr. Samuel as the let me not go and say something. Thank you so much, Mr. Hilary. Thank you so much, Ms. Abigail. Thank you so much, Maton. Thank you so much, Ms. Nimi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, my Creative Maya. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you so much, JOK. Thank you to myself, and God bless you. Thank you. We can leave now. Yeah.
Thank you